Hey, hello, how do you do? Welcome to Sine over Cosine. I'm Shady Doorags and I want to talk about it. And what I want to talk about is Five Nights at Freddy's. You guys should have known this video was coming. The Five Nights at Freddy's craze is over. Oh, goodness, this was a time. For those of you who don't know, Five Nights at Freddy's is a horror game that came out last year, 2014. And everybody just completely fell in love with this game. It was so popular that the creator, Scott Cawthon, came out with a second one, released it early, and then came out with a third one in, I want to say, less than a year's time. The third one has just been released, and the craze is, it's finally dying down. From what I've seen in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, the games are pretty much over. For all of the joy it brought to the gaming industry and to the internet and to YouTubers everywhere, one big question that needs to be asked. Is Five Nights at Freddy's overrated? With the craze dying down and the series coming to an end, I think we can finally look at this question fairly. Just so you know, going into this, I have not played Five Nights at Freddy's at all, but I have seen all of Five Nights at Freddy's played through. I've been following it since Five Nights at Freddy's 1. I'm not into horror myself, but I get a kick out of watching certain people play certain games, and Five Nights at Freddy's, I loved watching other people play. First off, you gotta think of what do people mean when they say overrated? I don't like to look at official definitions in dictionaries because to me, it's not what you say, it's what you mean. And a lot of times people say things, but they mean something else. So when people say overrated, I generally think they mean something is getting a lot of attention that it doesn't deserve. There are a couple of aspects that people have seemed to mention why they think it's overrated. Five Nights at Freddy's is so overhyped. I mean, first of all, it's only popular because Let's Players play it. People don't actually like the game. They like the Let's Players. Isn't that obvious? You can't associate your like with the Let's Players, but you like the game. I can't really say that's 100% false, but I will say this. I was introduced to Five Nights at Freddy's through Honest Game trailers. And I saw it was a scary game, and I said, I don't like horror games, but I would love to see certain YouTubers play it. And I couldn't find the YouTuber I was looking for, but I did find Markiplier. And he played through the whole game. So I thought, I'll just sit and watch this. And I thought, from what I saw, it was a great game. But I wouldn't have seen it unless somebody had streamed it. So I will say that YouTubers help contribute to the popularity, but I don't think it's only based off of YouTubers. For example, a lot of y'all come to my channel looking for a specific subject. Some of y'all clicked on this video because it said Five Nights at Freddy's. Some of y'all clicked on my other videos because you wanted to hear about Leonard Nimoy or Greg Wilmot. And then you saw my video and you said, hey, I kind of like what this guy's saying. Let me subscribe to him. Well, that's kind of what happened with Five Nights at Freddy's. People saw it on people's channels and they already liked the person, but they said, hey, this game is kind of good. Let me talk about it. Let me play it. Let me get my own experience from it. What draws people to this game, and actually Markiplier said this, and I do agree with him. What draws people to this game, whether you liked horror or not, I'm not a horror person. That's why I couldn't play the game myself. Whether you liked horror or not, the game's mystery drew you in. What Scott did was he put a lot of background, story, lore into the game, but he didn't outright tell you what that lore was. And one channel that helped realize this was Game Theory. Game Theory took the time and explained the backstory that happened in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and told you where they believe the inspiration came from. Then in 2, went and explained all the backstories that happened in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. This gave the community of Five Nights at Freddy's a lot to go off of. Once you knew there was a story, because it was hard in the first game, you could have played the whole game and not known, because the story was told through posters that flashed up momentarily. And once the second game came out and all of these mystery started to unravel but yet build up, so many theories were made. People continually made theories about who's phone guy, whether the game is a prequel or a sequel, who was the victim of the bite of 87. All these questions and answers that just came out. Let's Players helped make the game popular, but what kept people coming back to the games was the mystery behind them. Scott let out just enough information that people loved his stories, but withheld enough information that people kept exploring them. Another thing that is mentioned is that the game is not really horror game. Horror is more than jump scares, people! You know that scene from The Dark Knight where a Batman clone just falls and hits the window? That's a scene that scares you with just jump scares. There is no atmosphere building up to it, nothing whatsoever. It just, that moment in time scares you. That is a huge difference from what's going on in Five Nights at Freddy's. Now the whole thing about jump scares is, okay, classic argument. Five Nights at Freddy's, yes, it has a lot of jump scares. However, the fear does not come from the jump scares. This is an argument. I'm pretty sure if you said that it's just jump scares, you've heard this argument before. The fear that people feel comes from the atmosphere of the game. The game leaves you feeling helpless, like you cannot do anything. First of all, you can't move. You can't move at all. You can only control the things around you. And look at the cameras and watch as the thing that's coming to kill you gets closer to you. That's what people are so afraid of. The jump scares happen and scare them at the moment, but as another YouTuber said, it's a punishment for not doing well. People panic in those situations, and then a jump scare comes, and it's, oh, I failed! And eventually you'll watch as Let's Players play. They get less and less scared of the actual jump scares because they know they're coming, but they're still more intent on beating the game. But even if the game was only jump scare, I do not understand why people don't consider this horror. I get that if you have a movie and the movie has a really good song, but the movie in itself is not good, but people call it a good movie. Frozen! However, horror is different from a movie because horror is a genre. If you have a horror element like jump scares and it is succeeding to scare people, it should still be classified as horror. The game is successfully scaring people. It might not scare you, I mean, but that's different. Some people don't find fart jokes funny. But if you have a show that's nothing but fart jokes and it's making people laugh, why is it considered a bad humor show? People get on Call of Duty all the time for doing the same thing, but then when this game does it, everybody loves it. Did you play the game? Let me stop. I don't want to belittle people because I understand that something that's really, really popular can be popular for the wrong reasons. Call of Duty. But saying that Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is exactly like Five Nights at Freddy's 1 is kind of like saying Infamous 2 is the same as Infamous 1. Or Mario Kart Double Dash is the same as Mario Kart 64. You're doing the same thing in those games. No, it's different. In Mario Kart Double Dash, there's 2 racers instead of 1. You're saying the game is a different experience because they let you add 2 players instead of 1? That's like saying Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a different experience because they let you put on a mask instead of use a door. I get that a lot of you think the games are the same. Those of us who played and experienced, we don't think that. The games do not feel the same to us. It's not that it's slightly better because it's updated. It legitimately feels like we're playing the sequel to what we liked. I made a lot of fun of the people who say that Five Nights at Freddy's is overhyped. But I understand you guys have an opinion, and you want your opinion to be heard. Okay, you're basically saying the hype is being given to us through YouTubers or Let's Players. You're saying that the games are the same, that the games are rushed, that they don't really have horror, you don't find them scary. I can understand if you don't like Five Nights at Freddy's. Not everybody is going to like the same game. But try to understand that the people who do like it, we're not just going by other people's opinion. Five Nights at Freddy's come up with a very successful formula, and we appreciate it. We do feel scared. We do feel that the games are different. But as I said, even if you want to throw all of that out the window, the reason why it's so popular is because of the story, the lore behind it, the way the story was told. As Markiplier said, the mystery. The mystery of Five Nights at Freddy's brought so many theories and so much discussion. That is why it's so popular. Yes, the gameplay was good. Yes, the horror was an experience that we liked. But it all came together. So that was what I wanted to talk about. Five Nights at Freddy's has come and it is going. With Five Nights at Freddy's 3 pretty much wrapping up everything. The fan base is probably going to die down soon because we don't have anything else to talk about. I've played a lot of video games. This has given me one of the greatest video game experiences I've ever had. And I never even played it. I watched other people play it. Scott, Mr. Cosine, thank you very much for this experience. I read about what you were going through in your video game career. I hope you could continue to do well, and I hope to see cameos of Phone Guy in more of your games.